you been home?
So my name is Angela Gachui, but everyone calls me Angie. And I have been traveling since I was 4 years old. But I guess my most recent time away from the country was when I went to university in Canada. And I was there from 2001 to 2006 to 2006. Came back in 2006, and best decision I've ever made.
What was it that made you return home?
What was it that made me return home? The opportunities. And I was not disappointed. Like, I knew when I was in Canada, I knew that there was more opportunity for me in terms of professional life, in terms of family network, in terms of quality of life, I think is what they call it. And it's completely surpassed my expectations. Completely surpassed. Canada was a great place. I was lucky in university to have a good family of friends from all over Canada and all over the world. But when I went to work in Toronto, I realized this was a very corporate and cold place. If your car broke down, there was really no neighbor you could go to and say, can I borrow your car? Can I bum a ride? I had good landlords, so they would help me go to the mechanic. But I had a car that had issues. I remember that. So I just knew that coming back home, I would have the networks, the support structures, the family, the opportunities. I may not have earned as much money, but I knew I'd make it work. If anything went bad, I could plant sukuma wikis in the garden, which is kale.
So, so you're an entrepreneur?
Yes, I am now an entrepreneur. I came back and did a little research stint, and then I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then I went and worked for a small technology integrator. And then in 2010, I left that, and early 2011 set up my own boutique advisory company. And we seek those opportunities that made me come back, and we help small and medium-sized enterprises become more sustainable. Yeah, that's what we do.
So what would you say to somebody thinking of coming back?
Come back now. I'd say don't be afraid. It is daunting. There's a lot of comforts, and there's lots of conveniences that we didn't know about until we went. And then we got there and we got very accustomed to them, and we can't imagine life without them. But life can continue without those conveniences, which are some of the negative things about having come back. You know,
what are those negative things?
The traffic jams, the infrastructure that doesn't necessarily work as effectively as it should. Customer service may not be as top-notch as you expect it to be. But then again, we are the warmest people. So it's balanced by a bad experience, and then you meet somebody who just goes way above and beyond what they should do, and you're like, I love you, I love being home. The best thing is the random moments where you just see the opportunity that exists for this country. When you're sitting there and you see somebody help another person, or you meet some random kid who's developed a great piece of technology that's going to change the continent, and he just did it because he was like, I have a problem, let me try and fix it. Actually, one of those guys was actually nominated as a CNN hero for making a solar lamp. And you're like, this kid just decided to do that. I don't think that stuff happens in many other parts of the world. That stuff happens at home. That's why you have to come back.
So what do you think about what the Homecoming Revolution messaging is, and what do you think of the platform?
I think the Homecoming Revolution makes it easier for people like me who just love it when people come back home to just spread our story wider and tell people that it's not an isolated case of somebody who has come back and, has made it happen. Has succeeded in the little dream that they had, and has found a job, and has reconnected with family. So this is about spreading a story, a success story of 1 or 2, 3 individuals, and spreading it across the continent and across the world, probably eventually. And I really believe in the power of networks, and the Homecoming Revolution, to me, the idea behind it is just making that network that much bigger.
You're so good. My girlfriend, best friend.
You can use that. Okay, now I talk about the other thing, right? Okay. And I think the unique thing about the Homecoming Revolution is that it's not spreading a message that says, never leave the country, don't go and explore what the rest of the world has to do. Everyone who has come back has benefited from being out of the country. And the beauty of the world is that you can go and you can come back as much as you want. I'm actually taking the opportunity to go back to school and do my master's later on this year and come back. The one thing that I know for a fact is when that master's program is done, I will be coming back home. So what are the things, what are the sights and sounds of being home? My mother closing the curtains at 6 p.m. because in Kenya we close curtains at 6 p.m. You just hear the curtain railing going, that's home. Nyama choma, the smell of nyama choma and a good chunk of ugali and sukuma wiki, and it's not animal cruelty to kill that goat. That's coming home. The kids singing in schools and then they curtsy and they go, welcome. It's home. It's home. What else? You can buy fresh fruit salad on the side of the street for like 50 shillings for the freshest mango and avocado and orange, and it's all organic. You don't have to pay premium price for this. It's all organic. That's coming home. I love that. It's going to Shags and seeing my grandmother and her just talking to me in Kikuyu, and my Kikuyu is really abysmal, but she still loves me anyway. And seeing her cows, and she's so proud of her coffee and her maize. That's coming home. That's coming home.
You are
it's good.
Coach.